The Pat O'Hara Show is sponsored by the Rivershack Tavern, 3449 River Road in Jefferson.
Welcome to the Pat O'Hara Show here at the Rivershack Tavern. I'm Brandon Rizzuto, your host, and joining me always is head coach Pat O'Hara. After all, it is your show, Coach.
It is my show. Well, you know, it should be the Rizzuto O'Hara Show or the O'Hara Rizzuto Show, something like that, right?
Coach, I haven't earned the skins to have that yet.
We're getting there.
Yeah, you know, maybe. Coach, just past game, Spokane, talk about it a little bit.
Boy, long trip. I thought our guys really would come out and we'd really be able to put on a game where we could come back with a win. And we played well in a lot of areas, but we're our own worst enemy. Brandon, we gave up 3 touchdowns on special teams. That's really difficult to come back from, and we did. We were able to get to overtime, even overcome that, but there's some corrections there that we've got to make where the process continues. It's frustrating, you know, not just for the coaches, but for our players. And the thing is that statistically throughout the league, we're tops in a lot of categories where we should be in a different situation with our record, but we're not. We're 3-5. But the good thing is that in our division, it's very fluid, and we can change things really quickly with a win Friday night.
Looking at Spokane's game, Kurt Rocco, your quarterback, had an outstanding second half, threw for over 400 yards, the first time in Voodoo history that's actually happened. Talk about Kurt.
He really had a strong second half. First half was good, but still he's so capable, and I hold him to a higher level there, first half there, to really be more consistent. You know, we're getting turnovers. We're not turning the turnovers into touchdowns and points. And really, when you really break down that game, it really should have been a lot different story. But it wasn't. Second half, though, Kurt really came out with that intensity that you have to have at quarterback and understanding what you're supposed to do. He had an outstanding second half.
LJ Castile was 5 yards away from the Voodoo having 3 receivers with 100 yards or more. Just talk about your receiving core play.
Well, we do have a lot of balance in what we do in our scheme. You know, whenever we've you know, run this offense, you see all 3 receivers really with a lot of equal catches and yards, and it just kind of works out that way. We try to put different guys in motion, take advantage of different situations, and so you know that balance is there. But you know, again, special teams, taking care of turnovers and turning them into touchdowns. And we had too many penalties. We had a tremendous amount of penalties. Those 3 things will get you beat. And even with those 3 things that happen, we're able to take them to overtime. But we've got to fix those things.
You mentioned overtime, and Coach, very unfortunate in overtime to have it played out the way it did.
Yeah, disappointing. You know, Kurt had such a strong second half, and second play got a little eager there and didn't secure the backside corner there and throws the interception. And that's tough. You know, that's tough on Kurt. But that's part of, as a quarterback, you learn from those processes and you hope to not make that mistake again. Again, we're 3-5, but we're in position where if we win Friday, we're 4-5, and we're you know, in second place in our division. So we've got to make sure we take care of Friday night.
Of course, you've had a chance to look at the film and go over this past game, just things that are there that they're correctable. They're not things that are going to hold you back long term.
They're correctable, but what really disappointed me, Brandon, was the penalties. We had 17 penalties, and I hate to even say that, but that's just not acceptable, and that's not the way we play football. That's not Voodoo football. We've been good with penalty situation all year. That was something we have to fix. We got Spokane in some 4th down situations and then have a penalty where we could get them off the field, and those are things we got to fix. Like
we've talked about, Coach, your offense is playing well, defense is forcing turnovers. Just the special teams aspect hasn't come around yet?
Well, you know, stats don't mean anything. Your record means something. However, you know, we're leading the league in total turnover margin from our defense. We're #1 in red zone defense. We're top 4 in offense and yards. Statistically, we're right there. Special teams, though, we're at the bottom. And that's something we've got to fix. That's something we have to fix. We've done it in spurts. We did it in Jacksonville, played well in Jacksonville, special teams-wise. Took a step back this week. Can't do that. So obviously that is something that we're focusing on this week.
We'll talk more about that game and the Voodoo's upcoming game this Friday night against Orlando in the Graveyard when we come back with more Voodoo action here on Cox 4. Welcome back to the Pat O'Hara Show here at the Rivershack Tavern, and stepping in for Coach Pat O'Hara this week will be offensive lineman, center, Lorenzo Breland. Lorenzo, thanks for joining us.
No problem.
I know you're called Zoe by many of your teammates. Talk about what's going on in the locker room thus far.
You know, coming off a tough loss in Spokane in overtime, just getting ready, for this week in Orlando, NFL Network, back at home, back in the Graveyard. So just trying to have a good week of practice and get ready to put a win on the board.
Now, you're a Southern guy, and you're from Mississippi, so I guess we'll claim you,
right.
Being Louisiana people, of course. But talk about, playing close to home and what that means to you.
I mean, playing close to home is always great. I mean, you get, good fan support, family gets to come, a lot of friends at every game, so it just gives you that extra motivation to play that much harder when you're playing in front of, people that you know. Talk
about, the decision process to become a member of the New Orleans Voodoo and play for head coach Pat O'Hara.
Playing against Coach, over the years, when he got the job down here, I actually got excited because I did want to come closer to home. I was in Tulsa last year and they actually relocated to San Antonio. So, instead of taking that long trip out to San Antonio, we kind of started conversating and, started the process. And, I was actually out of the country at the time, so it was a little tough. And, got everything worked out and ended up coming down to New Orleans.
You mentioned while we were in Spokane, the process you've had. You've played for a team and then they've relocated, played for a team and then relocated. Tell us about that.
2009, 2010, I was actually in Huntsville with the Vipers. They relocated and became the Georgia Force. So I didn't go to Georgia. Went to Tulsa last year. They actually relocated, moved to San Antonio. So now I'm down here in New Orleans. Hopefully, we'll be here for a while.
Fans, let's hope he's not the kiss of death and means Voodoo is going out of town. You said you're going to retire if that happens, all right?
Yeah, I'm going to retire if that happens.
Talk about a little bit of the off season. I know you spent some time in Brazil. Tell us about that.
Yeah, actually last year in Tulsa, my quarterback, Matt Bazzina, he actually played for the U.S. national team. Had the opportunity to go down there. It was a great experience. They've been playing football for about 10 years now. This is their third season playing full pads on the grass, but it's normal American football, 11 on 11, outdoor rules. They play NCAA rules, and we actually went 10-0, went undefeated and won the Brazil Bowl, so it was a great experience.
Did you get a ring for that?
Yeah, I actually got that coming. I actually got my medal back at the house, and like I said, it was a great experience. A little tough, with the language barrier, overcoming the Portuguese, but I picked up a little bit on that, and like I said, it was a great experience.
I would imagine it'd be tough for Coach Pat O'Hara to get in touch with you to try and convince you to come join the New Orleans Voodoo. Tell me about that.
Yeah, like I said, it was actually tough because I was outside the country, and Brazil is actually 5 hours ahead of Central Time here. So it was a lot of correspondences actually through Facebook, and then we kind of exchanged emails. I did have a Magic Jack while I was down there. I called him and talked to him maybe 2 or 3 times. We kind of kept missing each other because he was back in Orlando and the time difference and everything, but we worked everything out, and I'm here. I'm glad to be here. We
talked about winning championships, and we talked about rings. You're sporting a nice ring there. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's actually my conference championship from Jackson State. 2007, we won the SWAC conference. My senior year was a great experience. First championship, I want to say since about '99 at Jackson State, so everything was good.
You mentioned NFL Network game. This game coming up against the Orlando Predators. Talk about that.
It's always an extra push of motivation when you're playing on national TV. Plus coming off 2 tough losses, Orlando being a division opponent, as well as that being Coach's former team. I know he's going to coach extremely hard this week with a little extra push. We're going to play extremely hard and playing on national TV and get to showcase your talents in front of the world. So what other stage? That's the biggest stage you have.
The first of back-to-back home games here in the Graveyard. Talk about how important it is to get on solid footing moving forward.
Yeah, the biggest thing, like I said, we just got to take it 1 week at a time. So we got Orlando this week. Just trying to get a big win, on NFL Network. Encouraging all the fans to come out. Hopefully we have a packed house on NFL Network. because that does give you an extra push of motivation too when you playing in front of the home crowd and it's a large crowd and they're loud, making noise, and it rattles the opposing team. So definitely looking forward to getting back.
Lorenzo, as always, thanks for your time, my friend.
Appreciate it.
That's Lorenzo Breland. I'm Brandon Rizzuto. You're watching the Pat O'Hara Show here on Cox 4. Stay tuned for more Voodoo action coming up next. Welcome back to the Pat O'Hara Show here at the Rivershack Tavern. We tape here every Monday, 3 o'clock. You're more than welcome to come out and meet coaches, players, and some voodoo dolls. Welcoming Pat O'Hara back to the show, and Coach, had a chance to hear from Lorenzo Breland just now.
Lorenzo's, he's one of our team captains, along with Alvin Ray and Marlon Favorite, but he's also probably the funniest guy on our team. He keeps everybody in stitches, and he's a solid anchor there at the middle of that center position.
Talk about the recruitment process for him. I know he was out of the country during the off season, and he had to rely on Facebook to get him.
Yeah, it was strange. He sent me a message on Facebook and says, "Coach, I'm in Brazil, but I want to come win a championship for you in New Orleans this year." I said, "Great, Lorenzo, can I call you?" He says, "I'm in Brazil." So we talked a lot on Facebook, and it took a while to get the logistics down, but he's a local guy from Mississippi, I believe, and it's good for him to be close to home, and Lorenzo fits in real nicely.
Talk about winning the championship. First thing comes first, and that's winning the division. And we look at our division, Coach, it's airtight.
It's wide open. It's wide open. You've got Georgia and Tampa tied at 5-4 to lead the division. We're 3-5, and Jacksonville's 3-5. We're right there. So, and this is a division game this week with Orlando. They're 1-7. So, we're right where we're still okay in the situation we're in. It's frustrating for our players when you lose 2 straight. Especially coming off the bye. We won a game, then we had the bye, then the 2 games. It's really been a month, since we've won a game. So it's frustrating for our guys, but they need to take that process out on Orlando Friday night.
Georgia is currently on top of the division, followed by Tampa. And you've already played Tampa, you've beaten Tampa, still have Georgia twice.
We still got Georgia twice, Orlando twice, we got Jacksonville again. There's a lot of football left to be played. We have 10 more games, Brandon, and a lot can happen. You've got to stay the course in a long season, 18 games. It's a long season. You've got to stay the course, and you've got to keep trying to improve your team.
Looking around the league and just outside of the division, anything stand out?
Well, Philadelphia and San Jose, like everyone thought, is starting to separate themselves. Philadelphia is in our conference, not our division. San Jose in the West. Those teams are stacked. They're stacked with players, and that's pretty much what you expect. But I think you're going to see a lot of interesting things happen over the next 10 weeks.
Coach, each and every week we bring a player spotlight to the fans, and you get a chance to meet a guy that you probably would not see a side of him outside of the football field. Just, Coach, this guy is a Mississippi guy. He's a fiery guy that plays on your defense, and pretty much every hospital visit I've had he's gone to. Any thought process of who that could be?
It's got to be Alvin Ray Jackson. Alvin's one of our team captains. He leads by example. And with his words, he's been playing arena football for a long time. He could have gone to a lot of other teams this year, decided to come back. He believed, something we talk about is believing in what we're doing. He decided to come back, he believes. He's one of the heart and soul, guys on our defensive side of the ball.
Let's hear what Alvin Ray Jackson had to say.
Voodoo, running for my magic.
With a lot of new faces, I think that is got together quickly. A lot of new guys, new to the league. They're picking up on everything really fast, and it's showing on the field. We got a lot of work to do, and they put in the work each and every day, and we look a little bit different than we did last year. I coach high school football in off season. Oh, it's fun. I love kids. So with me going back home to coach at my old high school, get the chance to do something that people did for me when I was playing.
Voodoo, running for my magic.
Graduate from college, definitely. My grandma instilled in me getting that degree, and it felt really good when I got it. Wall Street. Yeah, because I seen the movie. Really made me want to go do that. I usually don't tell people this, but at one time, one of my favorite TV shows was Desperate Housewives. Exciting.
Voodoo, running for my magic.
Exciting. Exciting.
Voodoo, running for my magic.
Welcome back to the Pat O'Hara Show here at the Rivershack Tavern for our final segment this week, and we turn our eyes to Orlando. And Coach, the Orlando Predators is certainly a team that you're familiar with.
Yeah, it's strange to hear you say Orlando. I spent the last 2 years there as the head coach, and I spent 6 years there as a player, as a quarterback there. So it should be interesting. A lot of familiar faces there in the organization. So, but again, at the end of the day, this is a division game against a quality opponent that's much better than their record.
Coach, I have to ask this question. Is this a grudge match or is this just another game?
You know, I thought a lot about it during the offseason, how it would be, and here we are getting ready to play Orlando, and really it's about the game itself. You know, the game itself, it's not about me and some of the members of my staff being there last year. It's about being a division game on NFL Network, and really more about what do we need to do as the Voodoo to get better, you know, to make those corrections, to make sure we have a win, ensure a win Friday night. It's really turned into that, honestly, and so those are the things we're focusing on.
You mentioned NFL Network, and this is a big game, but this is one of 2 games at home, 2-game stretch where you get a chance to be back in front of your home fans. Just talk about securing the home front.
Well, that's important, obviously, and we've won our last 2 home games, so that's been good. It's been good for our fan base. We really need our fan base out there Friday night. We really do. We've been away for about a month now. We really need to be embraced by our fans here and get that mojo back, you know, and that's something we're looking forward to.
Looking at some of the personnel for the Predators, and Coach, you're familiar with their personnel. Just talk about that.
Well, Orlando is really strong defensively. They've struggled offensively, which has led to their record. But defensively, they're as good as anybody, and their pass rush is outstanding. Offensively, it'd be interesting because I think they're going to start a new quarterback in Chris Leak. Chris Leak won a national championship at the University of Florida. And all the information we're getting is that he'll start. So that's a little bit of a different animal there. They're coming off a bye week, so they've had some time to prepare. So we expect Orlando to come out ready to play for a lot of different reasons.
You mentioned Chris Leak possibly starting. Does that lead you to go back to the preseason game footage against Jacksonville to see some of maybe his tendencies?
Yeah, that Brandon, it's interesting you say that. You know, we can go back. We played against him in the preseason with Jacksonville, but he's played the whole second half 2 weeks ago against Tampa in their last game. So we've got a half of film. The game was kind of out of reach, but we've got a half of film of Chris playing, and those are all things that we'll watch.
Looking forward to the game, and coaches, talk a little bit more about, you know, what are some of the things that Voodoo's going to have to do? We talk about each week, going to have to get after their passer, protect our passer, but talk about some of the little other things that the Voodoo's going to need to do to win this game.
I think the main focus right now is special teams. You know, special teams pretty much got us beat, and we've got to. That's fixable. That's fixable, and we've already got on top of trying to fix that. That's something we have to do this week in our field goal protection and our kickoff coverage. I think if we do that, and we continue along the process of what we're doing defensively and offensively, I think we'll be all right.
Your kickoff return team has definitely been a bright spot for special teams, and Corey Payne, you know, besides being tackled by a fan last game, you know, had some really good returns.
We had some pretty good returns last week. Spokane's kicker did a good job of hitting the bar, and one thing we did do a good job of is LJ was our personal protector and really was able to grab those errant balls off that bar and secure it to prevent turnover. So that was a positive.
Mentioned fans. How important are the fans going to be in this game?
The fans are huge. We were up in Spokane, and their fans up there really made it difficult on us. I mean, they were loud. They were screaming at us. I had a guy, Brandon, before the game, hand me a trophy for the worst football movie actor ever. So it literally gave me a trophy. So the fans up there did their homework and really tried to get after us and make it loud. I think it did cause a couple penalties. We need our fans to just be out of their minds excited Friday night on national TV and support us.
NFL Network, nationally televised game. If you can't get up for this one, you can't get up.
Yeah, you know, we've been on NFL Network. I think this is our 4th time, and fans, you know, in the past, New Orleans has not been on NFL Network this much. The league loves New Orleans, excuse me. So we need to have the fans come out and really create an environment. Arena Bowl is going to be here this summer, so we've got to show what our city's all about.
Coach, as always, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Brandon.
It's your show after all. You know?
It's my show.
Thanks for watching the Pat O'Hara Show here at the Rivershack Tavern. We tape here every Monday, 3 o'clock. We look forward to having you here. See you this Friday night in the Graveyard.